Back on Closer Look, Tuesday, July the 29th, with Michael Friscolanti, our editor-in-chief here at Village Media. I'm Scott Sexsmith. You can follow us wherever you like: TikTok, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, the Village Media Network, and, of course, wherever you get your favorite audio podcast. Closer Look at villagemedia.ca as well if you'd like to reach out. Here we go. Another show. We're all set to rock.
That's impressive, Scott. Honestly, every time you remember all that, it's
I don't remember a lot of things, and my wife will attest to that. That I do remember, but only because I've got...
You got some good notes?
Yeah, I don't know if the camera picks that up or not. But,
that's impressive.
There they are.
You know, I think people, for those people who are watching us, thank you. And they think, we just sit here all day and talk about, but it's amazing how this fits into our day. There's a lot going on. Village Media is a growing news network. Lots of local news sites across Ontario, great team of political reporters, both at Parliament Hill and at Queen's Park. And I had so many meetings today with different journalists across the chain about stories that we're following, big pieces that are coming down the pipes, and just the daily journalism we do. And it's when I actually sit down sometimes and kind of catch my breath, it's amazing the kind of work we're doing, and just knowing some of the stuff that's about to come out is super exciting. It's
a crazy time. It's a crazy place to work. There's always lots going on, but I will say this. This is still the best part of the day.
Yeah, you like this part the best?
Coming down here, I'll tell you, just love it.
You want me to say the same thing. This is the best part.
I thought I was lobbing you a softball, but apparently swing and a miss. He struck him out.
No, it's fun. We've had some great conversation. I have to admit, I'm enjoying the daily format. We were all a bit nervous. I know I've said that already, but I think the daily format's been great. I'm really enjoying the conversations we're having. We've had some great guests. We've talked about some important issues, and I think we've hit the ground running. We
certainly have. Today is no exception. Pleasantly surprised to see that vehicle thefts are down almost 20% in the first 6 months of this year versus the same time.
Yeah, that's
what
the latest data from an organization that tracks these numbers. I remember we did a show on this last year in our old podcast talking about just how the numbers were skyrocketing. I remember Doug Ford was at the podium threatening that the thieves were coming after you guys, right? And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the time was visiting various police forces and making big announcements about cracking down on auto theft. It was a major problem. This was, pre-tariff, when tariffs weren't a problem. Auto thefts were the problem.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I didn't realize that it's obviously had an impact, and so the numbers are down. So we're going to learn a little bit more today about why that's the case, whether it's a blip on the radar, it's going to go back up, and anything more we can learn about it.
And we're going to do just that with Brian Gass. He's the VP of Investigative Services at Equite Association. For years, car thefts in Canada were skyrocketing, but now, for the first time in a very long time, the numbers are heading in the right direction. A new report shows auto thefts have dropped by nearly 20% in the first half of this year. So the question is, what's changed? And is this maybe just a blip or the start of a real turnaround? Joining us tonight on the show is Brian Gass, the National VP of Investigative Services at Equite Association. Brian, it's been a while since we've seen you. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Car thefts are finally dropping. Brian, what exactly changed? What did police or governments do this year versus last that seems to be actually working?
I think it's all about collaboration, everything from media and shows like yourself, making people aware of what the problem is and how to protect themselves, as well as the investments from government. Started with Ontario with the creation of the Provincial Auto Theft Team led by the OPP. And the dedicated prosecutors going after the organized crime elements, the federal investments to CBSA and to the RCMP and Interpol, all of that together, and the collaboration and cooperation, working with private-public partners like our investigators coast to coast with law enforcement. All of those, many projects going after the organized crime element of this. It's starting to show a trend. And I am cautiously optimistic. Even though the numbers are going down, the numbers are still higher than pre-pandemic. And I'm not suggesting that we have this beat. We have to continue doing what we're doing. And hopefully next year we'll see very similar downward trend.
That's a great point. Brian, again, thanks for joining us on the show. We appreciate it. I was a little disappointed last time you were on our podcast. You joined us from your car, which kind of really gave the sense that you were so afraid of your car being stolen that you didn't want to leave it. I guess that shows just how much more things have improved.
Things are so much better now.
That Brian's joining us from an office, I assume, which is great news. It is interesting. We talk about collaboration all the time. We see governments make announcements all the time. but it's not often that you actually see in 6 months or a year later that actually makes some headway. Were you surprised by the data?
Well, I had the benefit of experiencing the investments from the Ontario government, and they were acted on very quickly. The provincial auto theft team was stood up very quickly. And then when it transitioned into the federal response with the summit back in February of 2024, I had the privilege of being there. And when they rolled out the action plan, it seemed like it was achievable, and there was an interest. And it was great to see many of the things had been already implemented. So I wasn't overly surprised, just because I felt that there was a true desire to everybody to work together and combat the crisis that we were in.
Why do you think that is? You're a former OPP officer, but I guess I wonder, why is it that this particular crime, there was everyone realized we need to team up and take care of this, as opposed to perhaps some other criminal issues that we deal with in the province and the country?
I think this touches so many different aspects of everybody's life. This is not just a victimless crime. It's just not a property crime. Criminals are using the proceeds of vehicle crime, auto theft, as a funding mechanism for their criminal operations, whether it be drugs or firearms. Those other crimes are staying in the communities in which we all live. And I think it's far-reaching, and it became a public safety issue. This isn't just a financial issue. This is the public safety of all Canadians. So I think it was very well received by all levels of government, various parties, police services, CBSA across the country, and working with our international partners. So, and we were hearing loud and clear from Canadians that they were concerned.
Brian, Ontario and Quebec had huge drops in thefts. Why those provinces? Is it just more policing, or are there other tactics being used there that maybe other provinces aren't implementing or haven't implemented at this point?
Well, to start, the numbers in those two provinces are high, and it's not because of the main reasons being the large population, the targeted volume of vehicles in those provinces, and the proximity to the Port of Montreal. That's the starting point. But to your question, there has been tremendous collaboration and cooperation between all provinces, but particularly Ontario and Quebec. Projects like Project Vector focused on the Port of Montreal, where Montreal Police, Sûreté, OPP, and other police services and our investigators joined together to combat what was happening at the Port of Montreal, and CBSA have done a great job as well. So there's been a lot of every municipal and regional police have been focused on this, and there's been a lot of good work.
And I guess the follow-up to that is, what's the deal with Alberta then? It seems to be a real hotspot.
Yeah, Alberta is interesting. It is a trend that we're seeing. I mean, per capita, they have a higher theft rate than Ontario and Quebec. They have a lot of vehicles that are stolen. Historically, they've been older pickup trucks used as crime vehicles, meaning used in the commission of other offenses. And now the new trend that we're starting to see is newer models being stolen, revinned, registered into the Alberta registry system. Vehicles from Alberta being sent to Ontario, being shipped out of the eastern ports. So it's a new trend that we're starting to see newer vehicles that are being stolen in Alberta, something that we haven't seen historically.
Mm-hmm. To go along with the report, we've also seen a lot of headlines recently about big busts. We've seen the police make some major arrests in terms of organized crime rings and groups doing this. What have you found, or have you taken a look at whether the punishment fits the crime, so to speak, Brian? What's happening to a lot of these guys getting arrested? Are they getting out the next day on bail, or they're actually getting some severe sentences?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the criminal elements still see this as a high reward, low risk. If you get caught with a $100,000 vehicle versus $100,000 in cocaine, you're likely going to prison for cocaine, not so much for the vehicle. Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police are very active on this subject, looking for sentences and bail reform. But that is one good thing, especially in Ontario, where you have the dedicated prosecutors working with the provincial auto theft team, going after the organized crime group. So yes, it's important to go after the common thief that stole the vehicle, but it's also very important to go after the hierarchy of that organized crime group and do a crime disruption of that whole network.
Brian, anybody watching tonight or listening is no doubt wondering, should I be worried? So in that vein, what are the top makes and models of vehicles that thieves are after?
Yeah, I mean, really, all vehicles are susceptible, or most vehicles are susceptible, minus some electric vehicles are a little more challenging. But it comes down to the targeted vehicles still remain to be newer SUVs and pickup trucks. Those tend to be really what the focus is, and that's really indicative of what is being sought overseas, as well as the individuals that are transitioning from maybe not exporting, but keeping them domestic. What's old is new again. Chop shops are on the rise, and vehicles being stolen and stripped down and sold part by part, not only to fill domestic demand, but shipping parts internationally as well.
Yeah. Brian, we saw plenty of headlines, I think, last month that there were car thieves arrested on Premier Doug Ford Street, and it actually tried to steal his car. When you saw those headlines, what went through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, they're brazen. They're criminals. What they used to do between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, they're now doing in open malls when people are walking by. They have the technology, they have the skill and ability, and it can happen relatively quick.
Brian, auto thefts are down, which is great news, but insurance premiums aren't. So what do you say to Canadians wondering why we're all still paying more for insurance?
And that's an area that's out of sight for me. So,
good answer.
Equite focuses on our operations with law enforcement and investigations, and when it comes to premiums, that is out of my scope.
We'll have to get somebody from the insurance bureau.
That's okay,
Canada.
Brian. Just give us your thoughts anyway. Whatever you think. Tell us what you really think about it. No, it is interesting what you said about how that used to be done. This is something that used to be done in the middle of the night, and it just seems to be being done 24/7. And I do wonder sometimes if that speaks to the issue of the low risk or whatever it was, that you're not going to really get punished for this. And I believe there was a major bust in Southern Ontario recently where most of the guys were out on bail later that day or the next morning.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and it seems to be a reoccurring theme. And I think that's really what the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police are really driving and pushing for that change.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, I remember the last time we had you on the show, we had just watched a video of a car thief holding an antenna up to a front door because most people will hang their car keys by their front door when they walk in the house. And I guess that somehow transferred information from the key fob. So my question is there new advancements that thieves are implementing now? New tricks, tips? What are they using now? What's the newest gadget for them?
Yeah, I mean, technology theft is still the predominant method for these high-value vehicles that they're stealing, and really reprogramming attacks. So basically plugging into your onboard diagnostic port, reprogramming a key fob, as well as the relay attacks, which you just mentioned there. They're utilizing, capturing that radio frequency between the key fob and the vehicle, and able to start that vehicle for a one-time event.
Brian, a couple more questions. Thanks again for all your time. What's the key to keeping this trend going of seeing the numbers continue to go down?
I think we can learn from this that it is a collaborative effort. Don't work in silos, and I'm not suggesting anybody is. I think the collaboration has been remarkable. Keep that up. Funding is important. Resources for law enforcement is important. Private-public partnerships is important. People's awareness. Don't have a false sense of security. Just take the precautions and continue the path forward without making the mistake thinking that we have this solved and it's fixed and we can move on to other things. And we have to remain focused on this problem so it doesn't creep back up.
Brian, before we let you go, was there anything else from the report that you wanted to speak to or anything else you wanted to mention to the audience?
Yeah, I think, really, we also mentioned a couple of things about that action plan was highly successful. A lot of things implemented. A few things that are outstanding, such as the current standard, which is the security standard for vehicles. There's a approach for a harmonized standard for the Canada and the United States, meaning all vehicles manufactured or sold in Canada or the U.S. would be subject to that standard, and as well as the National VIN Registry. Where each province would have an enhanced ability to detect re-VIN vehicles and flag them.
Can you talk about that real quick, Brian? Sorry, that's something that I guess I'm not aware of that. But how do these criminal organizations, they basically give the vehicle a new VIN number and then try to resell it?
Yeah, so there's different ways of doing it, and I do my best not to give a how-to guide on to do it. But you can speak at a fairly high level that they basically, the VIN is a 17-digit VIN that is the true identity of the vehicle. They'll take that off, they'll put a false VIN on, and I won't get into how they get that or where they get it from, but essentially they try and mask that stolen vehicle to be legitimize it with a fresh VIN that they've placed on it, and then they register it, whether it be a real vehicle or a ghost vehicle. Doesn't exist.
All right,
that's wild.
That is wild. Good stuff. Lock your doors, and for goodness sake, do not hang your car keys by your front door. Bad things will happen. There's Brian Gass, the National VP of Investigative Services at Equite Association. Thanks for this, Brian. Always good to see you.
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so that's the second time that we had Brian on the program. Let's rewind to the first time. We should have brought this up with Brian. First time we had him on, great discussion. A couple weeks following that, Derek, our producer, is in Toronto going on a lovely trip with his wife. And what happens?
I shouldn't laugh. Sorry, Derek. His truck gets stolen. And the best line was, I believe his wife yells at, "You just had this expert on your podcast. How come you didn't know what to do?"
and that's how she talked. That's not how she
I shouldn't imitate her like that. Sorry. She's going to get mad. She's not watching the show anyway.
No, she's well, certainly not now after what happened with the
that was
truck.
Great. I wish I'd remembered that because I would have brought that up when he was
What are the odds?
Nice truck. It's you're in Toronto downtown, or you're near the airport?
We were near the airport. The guys that were attempting to steal the truck were caught in the act. They had smashed the back window out, and the piece of equipment they used to reprogram the key fob was still hanging out of the dash when I drove it home in March from Toronto to Sault Ste. Marie with no back window.
That's no back window?
No back window.
That's a breezy drive, eh?
There's some crack detective work right
Well,
there.
luckily, there's a 20% less chance now, Derek, of that happening again.
I'll let my wife know.
That is great.
Well, the good news is they're still married.
We shouldn't laugh. We shouldn't laugh. I have to say, I think I mentioned it to Brian. I was kind of surprised by the numbers. I didn't think that it would be turned around that quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a combination of all the things he was talking about, or just maybe there were so many auto thefts happening at the time.
Well,
that they're down a bit.
Nonetheless, it's good news and headed in the right direction.
That's what I hear.
Okay, let's put a bow on this one. We're back tomorrow. TikTok, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, the Village Media Network, and of course Apple. Wherever you get your favorite podcasts, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Closer look at villagemedia.ca. Have you ever had your vehicle stolen? That'd be great to
let us know.
Let us know. Let us know.
Or did you steal Derek's vehicle? Please reach out.
Or have you stolen one? Either way, we'd like to talk to you. Closer look.
Tricks of the trade.
At Village Media. He was pretty tight-lipped on that whole VIN thing.
Yeah, that's a great line. I don't want to give a how-to line.
That's right. That's a whole other podcast. Closer look at villagemedia.ca. For Michael Friscolanti, I'm Scott Sexsmith. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 on Closer Look.
Frisco and Scott's Wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.